Well, hello, reef keepers, aquarists, saltwater and aquarium enthusiasts out there in YouTube land. This is Mike from What Works for Me Aquariums, coming at you with an update video from the last time I did one, which was a couple of weeks ago. In that video, I was afraid to tell you, I was saddened to tell you that things were not going so well, and they still aren't. I discovered, in case you didn't see that video, it's the very last one posted, that KH and calcium are very low in my aquarium. This has been going on for a couple of months. I've been battling it, and oddly enough, can't seem to get it corrected. And because of that, I've lost just about every piece of coral I've got. Currently, you see before you in the upper right-hand corner on top of the rock, next to the coral bendy shrimp, that is a piece of pipe organ, which does still have polyps, which means it is still alive, hardly thriving. Dead center at the top, of course, is the green star polyp, which is doing well as it's ever done. It doesn't seem to have changed much. Doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look any better because it was growing quite rapidly. Immediately to its left, you can barely see it. There's a piece of Duncan between the rocks there, and it's almost non-existent as well. And finally, to the left there, toward the center of the left section of rock, you'll see three pieces of soft coral, tree coral. That stuff's pretty hardy. I guess it's doing okay. It's not where it needs to be, but right now it's upset because I've just moved it. I had it up behind the pipe organ. It didn't seem like it there, so I moved it over here. I don't know whether it's not looking too good because of the situation in the tank, or it's just simply because I moved it. It's better than it was. I think I moved it yesterday. So, also, livestock are clearly not affected by these kind of parameter issues. As you can see, the snowflake clan is fine. The copper-bedded shrimp is fine, and everything else is doing. Other than that, the coral is, of course, naturally it's really bad. Snails are everywhere; they're doing fine. Before I go too much further, I want to show you something I found, and it really been a lifesaver. In the last video I talked to you, or maybe in the video before that, I talked to you about the fact that this room I'm sitting in is very, it's not well ventilated. Subsequently, it gets very hot in here. We've had some very hot weeks previously here in Oklahoma, in the hundreds daily. And so what I found was I needed some way to cool off my aquarium, so I got a fan. And in a video or so ago, I showed you the fan. It's hanging right to the right of the aquarium above it. Still a 9-inch fan I got at Walmart. Works really well for keeping the temperature down. I'm running at about 77 to 78, and it's constant. And the one thing I managed to actually fix. And the problem I was having, however, was because the fan was blowing on it, it was causing, and the heat, it was causing evaporation, pretty rapid evaporation, which of course was raising and lowering the salinity, so I had to deal with that. So what I got was this cool thing. Let me show you. This is the F-Zone Auto Top-Off. Now, as you see the picture, the little green object in the middle, that's the sensor, and the little black object at the bottom there is the pump. So what you get is exactly that. You get a sensor, which has a really strong little magnet, and a pump. And you get the hosing, the tubing, and all the power cords and everything else you need to go with it. And it's been absolutely a dream. I don't ever have to come in here and top this tank off anymore. I just have to fill the bucket up periodically, and it does really well. It works on the little sensor, has a little notch cut in it, and it's a little light on top of it. And when you turn it on, the little light is blue if the water is filled up to the proper level. When it drops down a bit, the little light flashes and kicks the pump on. And it pulls water up into the aquarium. It does a really good job. I mean, I'm not kidding you. It was really cheap on Amazon, too. F-Zone, it's called. Auto Top Off. It cost me $50. $49.95, something like that. And I'm fairly impressed with it. It really works well. I looked at the comments, and there were only two concerning things. Some of the people, very few, but some said that the one problem was that it just didn't last very long. A couple of months, then it just quit working. Which is, oh well, for $50, maybe I need to get upgrade to something a little bit better. The only other problem I encountered that was mentioned, and this is a little bit concerning, if it fails in the open position, it's going to empty that 5-gallon bucket of water on my floor. It's going to overfill the tank, all the water's going to rush out, and now I'm going to have some other problems. So we'll be watching it. We'll be watching it very carefully. Right now, though, I mean, it is super fantastic. Works like a charm. Don't even know it's working. Hard to see and everything else. So, just a quick little plug there. Now, back to the situation at hand. I cannot seem to balance this aquarium. I added something called Fluval alkalinity, and I did that last week. It worked, and it brought the alkalinity back up again. And this week I added some and nothing. I can't figure out where the alkalinity is going because there's nothing left in the tank to use it. Not nothing of any consequence. So getting this thing bounced back out again has not been a simple task. I'm not exactly sure what the problem is. Alkalinity's bad, so is the calcium. Actually is right where it ought to be. I haven't checked magnesium lately, simply because it was so high all the time that I assume it's still there. I finally got it down to about 1,500, and I'm told by some aquarists that's okay, and others say it's not okay. According to what I read, ocean water is 1340, so they said if you keep it between 1,300 and 1,400, you're okay. Mine's at 15, and at times it was much higher than that. So I'm going to guess that all of that put together is what's wrong with the aquarium. And, well, I can't figure out why I can't bounce it back out again. I changed from reef crystals by Instant Ocean, and I went and splurged and got myself a bucket of Tropic Marin, which is supposed to be this fantastic stuff, and honestly, it hasn't seemed to have changed anything. I don't know whether, I'm not blaming the salt, I'm just saying it doesn't seem to have had an effect. We're still having loss of alkalinity, the loss of calcium, and the rise in magnesium, and I'm not really sure why. So today I tried Fusion. Seachem makes a product called Fusion, which is supposed to balance all this stuff. It's a two-part deal. You drop in a milliliter of each, separate from one another in the aquarium, and it's supposed to balance everything out. But that's a every day or other day application, and I just started, so I really don't expect it to have done anything. So we're going to watch and see what happens. Let's face it, folks. This at this point is nothing but an experiment. Whatever's left in this tank, if it survives, fantastic. If it doesn't, well, we're just starting over. I am considering there's a product from Tropic Marin called All in Reef, and it's being praised as well as some of the best product around for alkalinity problems, calcium problems, so forth and so on. So we're going to look into that next. Also, I think I told you before, I've got algae problems. It's not a tremendous problem, but there definitely is algae in my tank on just about every rock. It's some kind of bryopsis or hair algae, a little both maybe. I have got a product called Vibrant, which is a biological-based, bacteria-based material that's actually to help the biological stress in animals, but it's touted as being something very good to tear down algae. So we're going to watch and see what happens, but as anybody knows in the reefing hobby, it's not something that happens overnight, and in fact, it shouldn't happen overnight. If anything happens overnight in your tank, it's just entirely too much of a stress on the animals, and so we're going to keep that up, and we'll see what happens. Now, I'm debating, and help me out here. Leave me a comment, will you? I have a question, and I want to know if anybody's ever heard of anybody, and I've never even looked into it necessarily, but this crossed my mind. Maybe I should just take the tank down, put the rock in a bucket, the coral in a bucket, the fish and the shrimp in a bucket, clean this tank out, get rid of that sand, get brand new sand. That would give me an opportunity to knock the algae off the rocks into a waste bucket, not back into the tank. Do all this in a day's time, probably a few hours really. Clean it really good and put new water and start from the ground up. That is a consideration. I may do that since everything's ready to go. Now I've already, the rock is bacteria based already. The media in the sump is it's well cultured. The media and the overflow, the hang on the back filter is cultured. All that stuff's going well. So I'm not really convinced I need to do this. But again, if anybody out there has ever heard of anybody doing this, or they know a video or something, I'd like to see it or know about it. I'll look around on YouTube as well. Likewise, I'll contact some of my local fish folks and see what they have to say. Currently, it's just not working well. And something else I thought is interesting. I mixed my Tropic Marin and tested the water before I put it in the aquarium, and it really didn't have all that great a reading. Either I'm not mixing it correctly or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, so here we sit, wondering what my next step is going to be. So I basically have three choices. A, keep trying to doctor it. B, take it down, start over. Or C. Now, here's the good one. And I probably should have done this anyway. I have a 40-gallon breeder sitting up in my attic just waiting to come down here. The only thing it needs is a stand, which I can build with no difficulty. I even had the material. So, upgrade to a 40. Now, most of you are going to say, yep, Mike, that's your option. I actually have all the equipment for it. I've got a light, and I've got the whole 9 yards. So it really wouldn't be that big a stretch, other than the stand itself, which, again, is not an issue. I'm not sure about it. I don't want to get a 40-gallon setup and be having the same problem. So, and you know, another thing is, when I was down in Dallas not too long ago, I found an aquarium shop that has some of the most gorgeous in-shop grown coral frags and colonies I've ever seen, and I would love to go down and get some from her. Not to mention in October in Dallas, there's going to be a Reef Palooza. So I stand to be able to get some neat stuff real soon. So I've got to make some decisions. So if there's anybody out there with any further suggestions, if there's anybody out there that says, hey, good idea, start the tank over. Anybody, anything else that you think I can do, please just don't hesitate to drop a line in the comment. As always, if you got a negative comment, I'll be taking it out and you'll be being blocked. But I'm not looking for, you know, first off, I've gone through this for a while now. I haven't a single negative comment. I've had some very helpful comments, and I appreciate them. Thank you all to the subscribers I've got. I've appreciated your patience with me. I know I'm not have the most riveting videos in the world, and I'm working on maybe getting some graphics or something. I'm not really sure how that works, but anyway. So there we have it, folks. My recent update on my Fluval Evo 13.5. It's holding about 7.5 gallons of water with the rock in it. So understand, of course, this is truly a nano tank in every aspect of the word, phrase, or the term. So here we go. We're going to see what we can do to get this all straightened out. Keep working on it. And again, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. This is Mike from What Works For Me Aquariums. Have a good day.